Hi guys, welcome to another video on the Mayo Media Network. I'm George Gamble from Premier Sports Plays and SBR Sports Picks, here to talk to you about the round of 16 action taking place on Monday for Euro 2020. But before we dive into the details, please give this video a like, give the page a subscribe because it really does help out, and also click that bell so that you get notified whenever we release a new video because you don't want to miss them. I also want to know, now that some results have come in and we've seen how teams can play, which two teams do you see facing off at Wembley in the final of Euro 2020? Who do you think is going to win? Let me know in the comments and let's see if any of you are thinking along similar lines. But now we're going to dive straight into the action with Croatia playing host to Spain in Copenhagen at the Parken Stadium. So Spain for once playing away from the heat of Seville. I was looking at this one, and Croatia, I don't give them much chance if I'm being truly honest. I mean, when I was looking originally into the research, they were priced at around 5-1, which is around plus 500. But since then, the odds have drifted massively, and you can now get plus 600 on Croatia to get the win. So money has been coming in for Spain, and I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, you look at the odds for Croatia, and usually when they're priced around that plus sort of 400-500 mark, the expected chance of winning is 17%, but the team actually only wins around 1% of those matches in recent history. And yeah, then as we've already established, they're not the same side they were back in the World Cup. They've relied on their core of quality midfielders for this one. But they still struggled. You know, they failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 4 meetings with Spain, and they haven't kept a clean sheet of any of their last 5 games overall. You know, they allowed Scotland, who hadn't at that point scored yet in the tournament, to overrun them and get on the score sheet. Admittedly, they absolutely trounced Scotland by 3-1, and we're probably deserving of it. And they do have the better quality individuals, but as a collective, I don't think they've got what it takes here to get past this Spain side. They have managed to keep things tight. They've only seen under 2.5 goals in 4 of their last 5 matches, actually. So, they do tend to keep things quite tight. There's not usually a flurry of goals like we saw in that Scotland game. But they face a different proposition. Scotland aren't Spain. Spain haven't lost any of their last 10 matches. And like I said, with Croatia, for me, it's been moments of magic from an ageing core. And they're the main reason behind Croatia's second place finish in Group D. And they were fortunate to get that second spot if you look at the underlying numbers. And for me, I'm going to talk a bit about XG, which is expected goals. Now, it's not pivotal. It's not the only thing you should be basing your picks on. But it's a good indicator because expected goals are generated. The number is generated from the chances that each team has or each team has conceded. So the general number is around how many goals they probably should have scored from the chances that they've created. And it's a good base. It's a good kind of factor to look at when you're making a pick. But looking at it, they posted a very, very poor expected goal difference in Group D of minus 2.18. And as a result, I don't think they should be fearing this competition. You can look too deeply into these statistics, but everything kind of evens itself out, and they're facing a Spain side that are just absolutely crazy for XG and going forward and creating opportunities. They're just not very efficient and struggle to score, apart from that demolition we saw of Slovakia. So who knows? Maybe the momentum is with Spain, and I think they can get at this Croatia side in terms of mobility. This Spain side is full of, the majority of it is young players, coming through, and they move the ball so well. They move it so quickly. They interchange. They find those pockets of space, and they really look to expose, gaps that are left by the opposition's defence. And I think they do that to Croatia here. Whilst the midfield of Croatia is exceptional, Modric, he's aging like a fine wine. That fantastic goal he scored against Scotland, and he dictates games. He dictates the flow of the games, but he can't do it on his own. Yes, you've got Perisic, who's popped up with a goal, and he's been kind of influential for Croatia, but overall, there's just a complete sheer difference in class between these two sides. And like I said, Enrique's side, they've been incredibly, incredibly wasteful in front of goal prior to that game against Slovakia. They scored only twice from a total of 6.07 expected goals, which is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. They should be scoring a lot more goals than they are, and maybe that momentum is behind them, and I feel like it is, and I think they can get at this Croatia side if they create the opportunities they have against the sides in their group. Sides who I'd probably favour over Croatia anyway, the likes of Sweden, in my opinion. But yeah, if Spain have got their act together up top, I think they'll be a force within these knockout stages, and I think that begins with coming over this Croatia side with ease, to be honest. Spain are averaging the 3rd most shots per game so far. Admittedly, it's only been 3 games at the time of recording. It's only been the group stage games. But yeah, they're averaging around 16 shots per game in total, and this Croatia side can be got at. So I do see goals in this game. I see Spain creating a hatful of chances, and I see them getting on the score sheet a couple of times at least. And I just struggle to see if Croatia can really cause much of a dent. They may, obviously, with the quality they have, they may score. I just don't see how they don't stop Spain scoring a couple. So for me, my favourite pick in this one was a Spain on a -1 Asian handicap. And that was priced at +107. And the beauty with this bet is that if Spain do win by just a single goal, then we get our stake back. It's completely voided. We just need Spain. As long as Spain win, we either get our money back or we are in profit. So moving on, we then have France against Switzerland at the Arena Națională in Bucharest. Now, this is an interesting one for me. As we all know, France do tend to start very slowly at tournaments. They had a disappointing draw against Hungary. Again, that was a very disappointing one. They had enough chance in that game to win that by 3 or 4. But fair play to Hungary in the group of death. They really did cause some problems for all of the sides that they played. And yeah, so France got a draw in that one. They also then got a draw against Portugal. So, you know, they've only got the one win, and that was against Germany. But I see them coasting through here. I do see them getting through. We see with France time and time again, particularly under Deschamps, they know how to do tournament football. They know how to play it. They know what the process is. They know what's needed. They might just scrape by, but they get the job done. And that is so pivotal in knockout football, which is why we see France as favourites. But yeah, when I was looking at this, France were around the odds in terms of European odds of around 1.53. And they've got an expected chance of winning of 65%. But recently, they've won 80% of matches at those similar odds. And this is going to be the two sides' first meeting since 2016, and 4 of their previous 5 head-to-heads have seen under 2.5 goals, and I expect things to be quite tight yet again. For me, I do see France coming out the better of the two sides because cream always rises to the crop, and after watching this Switzerland side in the group stages, that defence can be got at. Going forward, they're a little more promising, but at the back, they're a bit dire, and I'll come on to why shortly. But as well as that, you know, France haven't lost any of their last 6 to Switzerland. They've got a very good record against them. They've lost none of their last 10 games. And they've also scored first in 6 out of their last 8 games. They do tend to get on the score sheet nice and quickly, which would obviously be good for us. And Switzerland have failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 3 matches. And for me, if the match goes as is expected, the first nail in Switzerland coughing, it could be quick to arrive. Because 8 of Switzerland's previous 11 competitive matches witnessed the opening goal scored within 15 minutes. And France do like to start fast, so I could potentially see France getting on the score sheet nice and early as well. There's been over 2.5 goals in 5 of Switzerland's last 6 games overall, and Switzerland have also scored first in 7 of their last 9, so they're not shy of scoring, but as we've already said, they're dire at the back. You know, only Croatia, Wales and Sweden posted a lower XG difference of the teams that made the round of 16. That they're very easily got at this Switzerland side, and at the same time, it's difficult to argue against France's favouritism for Euro 2020. But for me, the reason I think they'll do well in this game is Deschamps, the France manager, is very pragmatic. A lot of fans, neutral fans, have been calling, but look at the players you've got. You've got Mbappe, you've got Griezmann, you've got Benzema, you've got Kante, you've got Pogba. When are we going to see this free-flowing, expansive football that we all want to see? Deschamps isn't like that. It's a results-driven business. And Deschamps knows what he's doing. He's won a World Cup with this France squad. He knows what he's doing. He'd rather get a good win and progress through the tournament and be known as winners rather than just playing flamboyant football but leaving themselves vulnerable at the back. They do get the job done, but for me, my favourite pick in this game is a rather safe one. I do think France win the game, but with this Switzerland defence, I don't see how they don't concede a couple here. So I thought France to score just 2 or more goals in the game, so over 1.5 goals at 1.8, so that's -125, was a great pick. I think that's great odds for France just to get a couple of goals. So yeah, that's my favourite pick for the first opening games. Now, I hope this video has helped you in terms of these Monday fixtures. I can't wait for them. I'm so happy that we're in the kind of knockout stages of this tournament. This is where things get really interesting. So please don't forget, pop this video a like, give the page a subscribe, and hit that bell so that you get notified whenever we release a new video, because we've got more coming up and the action is only going to get better and better. I'll see you soon.